Welcome to UU News, a flash news segment where we explore the most fascinating topics happening across the universe. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jacqueline. The first news story this week, ancient lead exposure may have shaped evolution of human brain. And I pulled this from phys.org, as I often do. A study in Science Advances reveals that lead exposure, previously considered a modern issue, affected human ancestors for over 2 million years, influencing brain evolution, behavior, and language development. Analyzing 51 fossil teeth from hominids like Australopithecus, Neanderthals, and Homo sapiens, researchers found lead bands indicating intermittent exposure from environmental sources and bone stores. Led by Southern Cross University, Mount Sinai, and UC San Diego, the team used laser ablation geochemistry to detect these signatures. Brain organoid experiments compared the effects of lead on the Nova1 gene, showing that the modern human variant was less disrupted than the archaic Neanderthal version. Lead exposure in archaic organoids significantly altered the FOXP2 activity, critical for speech and language, suggesting a link to the evolution of modern human communication abilities. The modern Nova 1 variant likely provided a survival advantage by mitigating lead's neurological harm. The study suggests lead exposure may have contributed to humans outcompeting Neanderthals. Genetic analysis highlight disruptions in neurodevelopment and social behavior pathways. These findings reframe lead exposures as a long-standing evolutionary factor with ongoing implications for modern health risks, particularly in children. So I pulled this one because it had to do with the pacing of Neanderthals and also the idea that lead and how we've been exposed to it is really only a modern problem, which obviously it is not, since they are finding probably small bouts of exposure in the 51 fossil teeth that they pulled and did the testing on. And I'm surprised actually that they hadn't done the testing previous to this.
Does lead help or does it cause birth defects? Because I'm getting conflicting information now here.
Well, I would say that, like, not unlike a lot of things, like small amounts and exposure to things kind of certainly, shapes the formation of genes and how genes react to exposure to toxins and whatnot. So I just find it interesting that even though it is something that we identify as being something dangerous, that it was something that also helped to shape our ability to develop, especially in terms of speech and the way that we communicate, as compared to Neanderthals, which were unable to adapt to the exposure, essentially.
It's very interesting.
It is very interesting. Still, do you remember when we were kids and they pulled all the Venetian blinds? Because they had lead in them
Mhm.
and kids they said kids were, like, chewing on the blinds. Yeah, that was a thing,
Now, did it help them or did it give them cancer?
right?
Your guess is as good as
Who
mine.
knows? I'm pretty sure I never found myself chewing on a Venetian blind, but,
If anyone wants to test that, let us know.
let us know how it turned out. What do you got, girl?
Well, I have a daring heist
Mm,
in broad daylight at the Louvre.
ballsy.
On October 20th, 2025, in a scene straight out of a Hollywood thriller, thieves executed a brazen robbery at the world's most visited museum on Sunday morning, making off with 8 priceless pieces of Napoleonic-era jewelry.
Mm.
The robbery unfolded around 9:30 a.m. local time, mere moments after the Louvre opened its doors to eager tourists. According to Parisian prosecutors, the 4 unarmed suspects, disguised in high-visibility vests to blend in with ongoing construction workers, arrived in a small truck equipped with a crane
Oh
and
my god.
extendable basket lift. The group raised the lift to the second-floor balcony where they used angle grinders and a blowtorch to shatter a window and gain entry into the Gilded Gallery. Once inside, the thieves targeted the display cases housing artifacts from the French Crown Jewels collection. Among the stolen items is an emerald and diamond necklace gifted to Napoleon Bonaparte to his second wife, Empress Marie-Louise, along with other gems of incalculable value, as described by Interior Minister Laurent Nunez. In a frantic bid to cover their tracks, the robbers attempted to torch the getaway truck, but were thwarted by a quick-thinking Louvre security officer who extinguished the flames. They fled the scene on motorbikes, leaving behind tools including 2 angle grinders, a walkie-talkie, gloves, gasoline, and a damaged replica crowd. Eyewitness accounts paint a picture of pandemonium. A nearby cyclist named Samir stated that he watched in disbelief as two men scaled the lift and smashed the window in under 30 seconds, with four emerging shortly after, laden with loot. Prosecutors suspect a professional syndicate behind the precision strike. Well, yeah. CCTV footage from the escape route is being analyzed, but the thieves' use of motorbikes has complicated the trail. The Louvre itself has faced scrutiny over underinvestment in security despite housing treasures like the Mona Lisa, famously stolen in 1911 by an insider. The heist underscores the challenge of protecting irreplaceable history in an era of sophisticated crime. Will these glittering relics from Napoleon's empire resurface on the black market, or will they be reclaimed before vanishing into obscurity? For now, the City of Light dims slightly, its iconic pyramid cordoned off under the shadow of unanswered questions. You guys, what?
What? I find it I mean, first of all, they were unarmed, so that just tells you there's definitely a problem with security at the Louvre. Like, they went through a second-story
Yeah.
window, and you have to say it's kind of ingenious to approach it as though, you just belong there. Just hide in plain sight and don't act suspicious, and no one will look at you. It's just astonishing, and
All the details of that is like, Hans Zimmer needs to come and write
right?
another score for this movie,
Honestly.
and I don't wanna put Tom Hanks in it, but we could definitely put Nicolas Cage in
It's
this.
very Ocean's
Just saying.
11, no no
Yeah,
joke. Yeah, I mean, it is, like, astonishing news, but on the real, it's very concerning, that's very
yeah.
concerning. Because another news story that we covered describes a irreplaceable Egyptian bracelet
Egyptian bracelet, yep.
being destroyed and melted down, so, it's not these things have value more to the point that they're historical relics, and that's my opinion. Of course, they're these big, beautiful diamonds and in this case, an emerald and, one of a kind jewelry pieces from an era when it seemed money was no object for these people.
Right.
So to that, of course, they're valuable, but I wonder under what circumstances they'll be sold or dealt on the black market. Like, will they be destroyed, melted down, broken up? Is that where the profit lies? And who are the people who are buying these things? It's not as though you can show the world, look what I have. I have this. You can't wear
Right.
it to the Met Gala.
Mount that in your living room?
Yeah. So it's kind of I mean, you don't go about stealing something like that unless you have a plan for its repatriation. You have a buyer, you have an idea of how it's gonna be turned into profit because otherwise you wouldn't be compelled to do such a thing. So, interesting. They didn't catch any of them?
None of them.
Wow.
None of them have been apprehended, and I mean, this is no different than the trees at Göbekli Tepe.
Mm,
We have to invest money, we have to invest the resources into our history so that we can preserve it and it can be studied.
mhm.
I mean, we're destroying all these old artifacts and jewelry and things like that.
Sure. When you watch a movie and they show security at these sort of places, with the lasers across the floor and everything's booby trapped. Like I always wondered, is that real? Is that actually or
Apparently not.
is it just like a sort of like a psyop deterrent to keep people from coming there and doing sort of things like this? I mean, it's not hard as long as you have an insider who can relay to you whether or not, what precautions they have in place. It's certainly something that can be attempted. Thus far, there are no apprehended suspects.
I
I
would start in their own
Mhm.
house because 9 times out of 10, it's an insider.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have no doubt that it is. Yeah,
Yep,
for sure. Yeah, that's a shocking story, and unfortunately, I think it's something that we're gonna see more and more of.
yep,
So, I'll keep my eye on the news to see whether or not we have a satisfying conclusion.
we won't.
No, probably not.
Well, that's gonna do it for our news today. If you have an interesting story that you'd like to share with us, let us know in the comments.
Don't forget, UU drops a new episode every second Wednesday, and you can check out our news stories every Sunday at 11:11. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.